You walk into a room you've never been in, and for half a second, your whole body insists you have. The layout, the light, even what someone's about to say. It all feels like a rerun of something that hasn't actually happened yet. Maybe it's a hallway. Maybe it's the exact words someone is about to say next, and then they say them. That's déjà vu. French for already seen. And it's not a glitch in the universe, and it's definitely not proof you lived a past life. Pop culture will tell you it's a glitch in the simulation, a crossed wire between parallel universes, maybe a memory bleeding through from a past life. None of that holds up. What actually explains it is stranger than any of those, and a lot more useful because it comes from inside actual human skulls, not a dorm room theory. It's one of the strangest things your brain does, and the reason we understand it at all traces back to something genuinely unsettling. Doctors accidentally triggering it inside someone's skull on purpose while the patient was still awake. So here's the real question. Why does your brain occasionally hand you a memory of something that never happened? Rewind to the 1950s. Neurosurgeon Wilder Penfield was operating on patients with severe epilepsy, trying to locate the exact spot in the brain causing their seizures. Because the brain itself has no pain receptors, patients could stay fully awake and conscious during the surgery, talking to the surgical team the whole time. Imagine being the patient. You signed up for brain surgery, not a haunting. Penfield used a small electrode to gently stimulate different points on the exposed brain, asking patients what they felt. Most responses were simple: a twitch, a smell, a flash of light. Over the years, this work built what became known as the cortical homunculus, a map of which brain regions controlled which sensations. Déjà vu turned out to be one of the stranger entries on that map. Then, on one occasion, he touched a spot near the temporal lobe. And a patient calmly said something like, "I feel like this has all happened before." This exact conversation, this exact room. He hadn't asked for a memory. He'd asked what a twitch felt like. Instead, he got déjà vu, summoned on command with a wire. That wasn't a fluke. Decades of clinical observation since then have confirmed it. People with temporal lobe epilepsy often experience intense, vivid déjà vu in the seconds right before a seizure begins. It's actually useful information for neurologists. If a patient describes strong déjà vu as a warning sign, doctors already know roughly where in the brain to look. For some patients, it's specific enough that neurologists use it as a checklist item, right alongside things like a rising feeling in the stomach or a particular smell that isn't really there. Here's what makes this important. Déjà vu isn't some vague dreamlike feeling floating around your whole brain. It's tied to one specific physical location, a small region near the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for filing memories away in the first place. So why does touching that spot, or having it misfire on its own, produce the specific sensation of familiarity and not something else? Your brain normally recognizes something in two separate steps. First, a fast familiarity check. Have I encountered this before? Yes or no. Second, a slower recollection process. When, where, and why. Normally, those two systems run together, in sync. Déjà vu appears to be what happens when they slip out of step. The familiarity system fires. Yes, I know this. Half a second before the recollection system can catch up with an actual answer. Maybe you're pouring coffee in a kitchen you've genuinely never stood in, and some part of you insists you've made this exact cup before. That gap is what makes déjà vu feel so specific and so wrong at the same time. But here's the thing. For decades, that was mostly a theory built on brain surgery and seizure reports. Nobody had actually caught déjà vu happening in a controlled setting on purpose in people with ordinary, healthy brains. Psychologist Anne Cleary decided to build it in a lab. Her team created virtual reality scenes, walk a person through one layout, say a garden with a shed in a particular corner, then later place them in a completely different scene that secretly shared the exact same spatial layout, just with the objects swapped out. People couldn't consciously recognize the layout as familiar, but a striking number of them reported déjà vu anyway, without knowing why. Some swore they'd walked through the exact scene before, describing details that weren't even part of either layout. Their brain wasn't just recognizing the room, it was filling in blanks to make the feeling make sense. Your conscious memory forgot the layout completely. Some other part of your brain didn't. And this is where it gets genuinely surprising. Psychologist Akira O'Connor scanned people's brains while they experienced déjà vu, expecting to see memory regions lighting up. Instead, the areas that activated most were in the frontal lobe, the regions associated with decision-making and checking information for errors. That changes the whole story. Déjà vu might not be a memory malfunction at all. It might be the opposite. Your brain's memory checking system successfully catching a false alarm and immediately telling you this feels familiar, but it isn't real. Don't trust it. The eerie feeling isn't the glitch, it's the fix, which lines up with something else researchers have noticed for years. Déjà vu gets rarer as you get older. It peaks in your teens and 20s and then quietly fades, decade by decade. Surveys put it at around 2/3 of people reporting déjà vu at least once. And for most of them, it's already becoming rarer than it used to be. It's also almost never reported in young children, which fits the same pattern. Their episodic memory system is still developing, so there's barely a system in place yet to misfire in the first place. If déjà vu really is a fact-checking system flagging false memories, that decline makes sense. Older brains process new information more slowly and form fewer sharp competing memory signals to accidentally cross wires with, so there's simply less for the checker to catch. So here's the full picture. In the 1950s, a surgeon accidentally triggered déjà vu with an electrode and traced it to the temporal lobe. Decades of epilepsy research confirmed exactly where it lives. Cleary's VR labs proved your brain can recognize a layout it swears it's never seen. And O'Connor's scans revealed the twist. The feeling isn't your memory failing, it's your memory checking system succeeding. Next time it happens to you, walking into a room mid-conversation, convinced you've lived this exact moment before, you're not glimpsing a past life and you're not malfunctioning. You're watching your own brain catch itself in real time and quietly correct the record. Different feeling. Same brain just doing quality control. That's not something wrong with you. That's something working exactly the way it's supposed to.